Welcome! In front of me is an Honor 200, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick look at the device itself along with its specs and price. So, let's just jump straight into it. We do have two little tapes to cut through. There we go. And that gets us inside. Here we have obviously the phone itself with a massive camera bump. I'm gonna already boot it up. And under that we got our paperwork along with a charging cable. That's a Type-C to Type-C. And that's it. There is no case, there is no charger, there is basically nothing in terms of what you would actually need to use this device on a daily basis. It's like buying a car out of a dealership and not getting the wheels for it. Fantastic. All for the environment. Anyway, so let's hope that the rest of the device will be better. And just looking at the price tag, I can already guess that it's not. Awesome. So let's start off with the display, which you can see right now. Now it does have a pretty good screen to body ratio. Right off the bat you can kind of see this, and that is a 90% screen to body ratio. Now the display right here is an OLED display, 1 billion colors, 120 Hz refresh rate, HDR though not plus, so it's not certified because apparently for roughly 800 euros, getting a certification is just what, too hard? You've got to be clowning me here. But at least we have a 4000 nits peak brightness. Now that does matter considering for HDR content you do need at least 1000 nits. Just because something has an HDR mark on it doesn't make it HDR capable. It just can read the content, cannot really display it accurately because of the lower brightness. That was typically the thing for TVs that were all marketing HDR, just not 10 plus. And this is kind of similar, but at least the phone can do 4000 whopping nits, so it's well capable of displaying the brightness that is needed for HDR. Now, continuing on, the screen size here, which I didn't mention, is a 6.7 inch, and that is at a resolution of 1200 by 2664 pixels, which puts it at 436 pixels per inch. Now if we flip it over to the back, we will be presented with the triple camera setup, and the main two sensors, because I would consider there are two main sensors, are the double 50 megapixel f2.0 aperture wide sensor and f2.4 telephoto aperture, or 2.4 aperture telephoto lens. At least the wide one has a PDAF and optical image stabilization, and telephoto optical image stabilization, and 2.5 times optical zoom. Then we also have a 12 megapixel f2.2 aperture 112 degree ultra wide lens with autofocus, and with those cameras you can record at 4K 30 frames, 1080p 30 and 60, and that includes gyroscopic electronic image stabilization and optical image stabilization. And then at the front, we have a single camera, and that is going to be another 50 megapixel f2.1 aperture wide sensor that lets you record at 4K 30 and also 1080p 30. So no 60, unfortunately, even though it's a 50 megapixel sensor. Now, moving on into the internals, we do have a 5200 mAh battery in here, and the device can charge that battery at 100 watts, and they advertise that it can get you to 57% in just 15 minutes. Now that seems to be actually quite low for a 100 watt charger. 120 can get in 15 minutes like full charge. This can do half. A bit questionable if this is actually 100, so yeah. Now it also supports reverse wired charging at 5 watts if you want to utilize that. Okay, now continuing on with the internals, we have a Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 in here, so pretty decent processor, though this is something that you'd expect more from like a high mid-range device. And I'm pointing that out because this device comes at 700 over close to 800 euros. That is a steep price for a device running a Snapdragon 7. That's a big yikes. Now, continuing on and disregarding the price for now, we have a 256 gigabytes of storage and 8 gigs of RAM at the base entry of this device, but it can be spec'd out to 0.5 TB with 16 gigs of RAM. Now, there is no expandable storage. This is just a dual SIM tray card right here. So if you want more than 256, you need to fork out the additional money to go for the 0.5 TB. And yeah, that's basically it. Now, they also offer 256 with 12, 256 with 16 gigs, 512 with 12, and 512 with 16. So they have a bunch of different options for RAM and storage. But when you want to have more than 256 storage, you also need to upgrade to the 12 gigabytes of RAM instead of the entry 8 gigs. Which I would consider is a good thing, considering 8 might be not that great. 12 is what I would consider to be like a great spot. You basically future-proofing. You don't need that, but if you ever do, you have it. 8 on the other hand side is, I would say, on the verge. Now, let's now talk about the build quality. So that's another kind of step back for this device. We have a plastic frame. There is an under-display fingerprint sensor. At the bottom, we have our speaker grills, Type-C charging port, the tray. Then on the left side, we get absolutely nothing. On the right side, we get volume makers, power button, and that's it. Now, on the top, we have what looks to be another speaker grill, along with an IR blaster and a microphone. And at the back, at least I believe, we have a glass back, though I can't really verify this as it's not really stated. But I think it's glass. The frame is most certainly plastic, though. So there we go. Now, like I said, for close to 800 euros, this is a steep price. I am going to actually quickly double check if that is actual price, as it does seem, even for Honor, to be a bit too high. So you can get it for about, is that 7? It's about 700, so it's a little bit lower. So 700, it's still, in my opinion, a bit too much, considering you can get something like the Xiaomi device, which is also Chinese phone. If you're going for Chinese phone, you might as well go for the one that gives you better specifications for lower amount of money. And those would be the Poco F6 and X6. I believe the Pros would be the better comparison, as these are more of a flagship grade phones that offer you better specifications than this device does, come with a charger, and cost less than this. So yeah, that would be my recommendation to check out those devices. Like I said, if you're going for Chinese, you might as well go for the one that gives you better value for your money. Now, with that being said, hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.